Hi, my name is Phoebe, and today I'm going to be showing you, or I guess telling you, what I think are the 5 best starter houseplants. If you want to get into plants, these are the 5 that I think are the best starters. Alright, so my number 1 would definitely be a Haworthia, or a Haworthia, however you want to say it. The common name is a zebra plant, or a zebra succulent. They are very easy. I've had Haworthias and they've lived for forever and they're still living right now. And I think they are quite easy and they're great for beginners because I think a succulent is always great for a beginner because you don't have to water it as much. So if you forget about it, it's not the end of the world. They're pretty hardy. And my second plant on my list would be a cactus, specifically a golden barrel cactus, because I've had multiple golden barrels for multiple years, maybe 1 year, maybe 2. And they're still living and they're thriving and they're quite easy to take care of. Again, they do need quite a bit of light because cactuses love light, but not too much light. They can get burnt. But I think that they are quite beginner because you don't need to water them as often because they are cacti. They do not need as much water and they're used to the harsh sunlight. They are quite easy, so I got along going with like this cacti and succulents, but now we're going to go to another one. And this is the pothos. It is it's a leafy plant, but it's very common in a lot of houses, but that's because it's gorgeous. And I would say a good beginner one would specifically be the golden pothos, or pothos, I guess. It's like the normal type, but it's the easiest because if you're getting like a more variegated one, like a marble queen, it does need a little bit more light to keep that variegation, but pothos can be low lighter. But no plants, no house plants are no light. Just know that. You can't put it in place with no light. It has to have some amount of light, but they're very hardy plants. And I think if you're looking for like a leafy plant as like a starter plant, it's very pretty and they get huge. So that's a good starter plant. And I would say my 4th would be a Parlor Palm. I've had this Parlor Palm I've had in my collection for a while. I think it was like one of my first plants ever. And I still love it. It's still thriving. It just put out a bunch of new leaves. She's doing great. And I think that Parlor Palms, and really any palms, I know some are a lot harder than others, so I recommend a Parlor Palm or a Bella Palm. But I think Parlor Palms are quite easy. They just need a little bit of light, like just a regular amount, like by a nice window. And they don't need to be like, and you just water it when the first or second inch of the soil has dried out, you water and moisten it. Make sure it has drainage holes so the water can leak out, just like most of your traditional plants. They need drainage holes. Yeah, so I would say a Parlor Palm is a very easy beginner plant. And my 5th plant that I would say is quite easy is a aloe vera. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's that plant that when you burn yourself, either you're in the sun or you're baking or cooking, and you burn yourself and you get a little mark and it hurts, you can break off a little stem of the aloe vera and the gel like soothes the burn. These are pretty easy to keep, so if you want to keep one in your kitchen for cooking burns or anything like that, as long as it's near a window, they are kind of succulents, not really, but they do need a little bit of light, well, more than a little bit. They need quite a bit of light, but they don't need to be watered super often. But again, just make sure they have drainage holes. So when the first inch of the soil is dry, you re-moisten it, let the water drip out, and they'll live happily. They live for a while and they get ginormous. So if you want like a starter plant that like when you're getting into plants, you can get a small little one, like maybe in a 4-inch pot, and by the time like you've had tons of plants, it gets really big. So I think that's a really fun starter plant, and it's pretty easy. And even when you break off a stem, it just sometimes it'll drop the stem, that leaf, but then it will just regrow it right back out. And I think all of those plants are very good starter plants because I feel like if you're just getting into plants, like I got into plants like a couple years ago, um, I just think it's like those are really good options, and a lot of them were my first plants. So yeah, I hope this is helpful for you, and if you're getting into plants, I hope you try one of them. Well, bye.